compassion, lessons from life, teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. By His Holiness the Dalai Lama, illustration by Bao Lu. The potential to build a more compassionate century and promote a greater sense of oneness among the whole of humanity lies within the children of the world. The Dalai Lama. His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, one of the world's most prominent leaders, was once a child from a typical family in Tibet. Under a big open sky, surrounded by tall mountains and clear streams, his mother was the first to show him what compassion looked like. In everyday moments from His Holiness' childhood, young readers begin to see that important lessons are all around us and that they too can grow to understand them with simple, powerful text and vibrant illustrations. The seed of compassion offers guidance and encouragement to how we all might bring more kindness to our world, and shows how, like a seed, with time and care, it might grow into something bigger than we ever could have imagined. Potala. From self-confidence grows compassion, and from compassion strength blooms. The seed of compassion, lessons from the life and teachings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I was born in Taktser in the Amdo province of northeastern Tibet. It was a place of tall mountains, clear streams, blue skies, and many animals: mastiffs, sheep, horse, yaks, scorpions, chicken, and cows. Our home was in the shadow of the Amichiri, the mountain of dead pierces the sky. Mine was a family of farmers. My father would spend a day tending to and selling horses, and I would stay home with my mother, help with her daily work. We would plant barley, buckwheat, potatoes, but those were not the only seeds we planted. From the time I was very young, my mother planted in me the seed of compassion. By example, she said, she raised me on a diet of love. It was often my job to collect the eggs from our hens. I took on my duty very sincerely. While my mother cooked the aroma of recovery, a delicious bread, wafting from our kitchen, I would play in the courtyard with scorpions for a company. Sometimes I would sit on the roof of our home. It was the perfect place to watch the mountains reach toward the sky. I would imagine what older boys were doing as they accompanied their fathers here. I couldn't wait to be big enough to do that. My other favorite perch was atop my mother's shoulders. From there, I felt like one of the older boys. I was taller than my father, and getting around was so easy. When I wanted to go left, I would simply tug on my mother's left ear. When I wanted to go right, I would give her right ear a pull. And if she didn't understand my instructions or choose to ignore them, I would kick my legs. Although my mother could not teach me to read or write, I learned so much from her. I was often a naughty boy, but she always treated me with kindness. Sometimes I think she may have been a little too patient with me. I was a bit spoiled, but that was her nature. She was this way with everyone around her. One year where there was a famine in our region, many families did not have enough to eat. My mother gave whatever food we had stored to our neighbors and those in need. In this way, she tended the seed of their most important lesson by demonstrating how to practice compassion. She showed me as a child that it was possible to treat all people with warm-heartedness and to help ease their suffering. Like a tall tree never forgets the seed it's sprouted from, I have often returned to the seed of compassion my mother planted and which I carried with me as a small child at home, as a young monk in training, and today I spread the message of compassion around the world. I loved growing up under the big open sky in Taktser, but I always knew that my life would take me beyond my small village. When I was almost 3, most monks came from capital Lhasa looking for a child who was a reincarnation of the Dalai Lama, the spiritual leader of the Tibetan Buddhists. They had been searching all over the country for him, and the millions of people of Tibet had been waiting to hear that he had been found. No one in my family could have expected that I was that child. Least of all me, but after passing a series of tests where I correctly identified the belongings of the previous Dalai Lama and held them with a great sense of familiarity, our visitors were satisfied that they had found the boy they were looking for. And so, at age 4, I made a journey to Lhasa in a caravan that snacked through the mountains. It took 3 months, and as the news spread that the new Dalai Lama had been found, more and more people joined the procession. I rode in a beautiful palanquin with my brother. We were rambunctious boys, and every time we housed inside the cozy cabin, we would knock it off balance. We had to be separated for the rest of the journey. In Lhasa, after I turned 6, my formal education began, and my days were filled with studies. In a few hours I had for personal time, I loved to puzzle over how things worked. I could spend hours taking apart toys, clocks and watches and putting them back together again, or exploring the mechanics of movie projectors and cars. This occasionally got me in trouble. As I trained to be a monk, I studied many subjects like Buddhist philosophy, the history, logic and reasoning, metaphysics, poetry, medicine, Tibetan, and Sanskrit, Hindi. One topic that I loved was compassion because of the seed that had been planted by my mother. I believe that is what led me to free the people laid in the prison next to Potala Palace where I lived. I have spent my entire life studying this topic, and I know it is my duty to help make the world a more compassionate place. The removable thing is this ability is within every one of us, and it is strongest, I believe, within children like you. Many Buddhist teachings compare those on a journey of life to sprouts or young shoots to plant that must be tended until they grow strong and thrive. Parents often describe their children as sprouts too, especially when they see how quickly they grow. But children are like sprouts, not just physically, but in how they contain potential, what can be nourished in them. The seed of compassion is within every child. It is there from birth and is a part of our nation. And it nourishes because of love. If you think about it, when it comes to the 5 basic senses, we humans are not all that impressive. The elephant has a long nose and can pick a faint scent from much greater distance than we can. The hare can turn his tall ears forward and backward to pick up sounds we would miss. The eagle has eyes that can spot the turning its prey from far up in the sky. It's not the use of our senses that makes us special. But only humans have the ability, with the discipline and effort, to train the mind. It is what makes us different from other animals. It is our superpower, and it is where the seed of compassion thrives. Think about this. When you are planning in a schoolyard and a group welcomes you with a smile, do you want to play with them? Or do you want to play with someone who greets you with a scowl? Of course you want to play with someone who welcomes you with a genuine smile, as you already have the ability to see genuine compassion in others. From self-confidence grows compassion, and from compassion strengthens blooms. But so soft our world puts importance on material things and pushes us to be competitive with people around us. The material world is based only in 5 basic senses. Compassion is based in the mind, a part of us that is uniquely human. It is where you might grow strongest and how you can create something positive in the world, because compassion is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of strength. When you approach someone with true warm-heartedness, they can feel it. Doing so only brings more joy to you and them. There are many simple ways to bring more happiness to the world. But you already know that what you must do now is protect and nurture this seed. When someone disagrees with you, rather than think they are mistaken, you must ask, why might they feel this way? When someone is calling or upset or hurt, you could busy yourself with your own conscience, or you could ask, what must I do to help them? These questions may not come immediately, but just as you gradually learn to read or swim or play an instrument, you can build compassion day by day. It takes practice, and even when you sleep, don't make a compassionate choice. Tomorrow presents the opportunity for you to try again. I have many responsibilities in my life, but helping to make the world is more compassionate place. It is a more important one. We cannot change the past. We can only learn from it. Otherwise, it is beyond our control. But the future we can change. And as children, you already have the tools needed to build a happier world, a better world, a compassionate world. Timeline of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's life. July 6, 1935, born in Taktser Amdo, Tibet. July 1939, departs Amdo for Lhasa, the capital of Tibet. February 22, 1940, ceremony officially recognizing him as a 14th Dalai Lama soon after he begins his studies as a monk. He splits his time between the Noble Ngilka, the summer residence of the Dalai Lama, and Potala Palace, the winter residence of the Dalai Lama, and the seat of the Tibetan government. November 17, 1950. At age 15, assumes the additional role as the political leader of the Tibetan people. March 17, 1959, escapes to India following the brutal separation of Tibetan national uprising in Lhasa by Chinese troops. December 10, 1989, receives the Nobel Peace Prize. May 29, 2011, formally relinquishes his role as a political leader of Tibet and transfers that authority to elected leaders. Thank you very much. Baolu was born in Vietnam and currently lives in the United States. As an artist, he focuses on color and texture in the unique illustration. He is honored to be illustrating the seed of compassion. Check it out. Copyright 2020. The Golden Foundation of the Dalai Lama. Jacket designed by Jasmine Roberto. Reinforced binding. Printed in the USA. Thank you very much. God bless you. Take care. Have compassion.